Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Action for Teens and Moms Health. I'm so happy to see you today. It is all about helping moms like yourself to increase your parenting confidence, remove the overwhelm of adolescents, and improve your ability to fully engage your teen for remarkable results. I'm so excited today. I have Dr. Funke Afolabi-Brown. She's a friend, a colleague. We're in med school together, and I'm so excited to have her here right now. So thank you for joining me. She's a pediatric pulmonologist, a sleep physician, and she owns the Radiate Brilliance blog. So thank you for joining me today. I'll allow you to introduce yourself. Today, we are going to talk about prioritizing sleep in teenagers. So Dr. Funke, please introduce yourself, then we'll get on.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Adinuga. I'm so thankful. You are doing remarkable work. I have an almost teenager and I'm learning so much, and the tips that you provide on your videos have been so helpful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about prioritizing sleep in teenagers. Almost every parent with teenagers and even children beyond that complain about getting their children to have adequate sleep. And I know that is a major problem, pain point for parents. And everybody out there, you would just lean forward because you're going to get amazing tips and knowledge from this. The first question I would ask is, how do we define adequate sleep in teenagers? And how does it contribute? How important is it to the well-being of those children?
Thanks. That's a great question. So I think adequate sleep, when I think about adequate sleep, I'm focusing on the quality of sleep and the quantity. So being a sleep physician, those are two things that I'm constantly looking for in my patients, making sure that they are getting sufficient number of hours of sleep and that the quality of their sleep is also good. And the amount of sleep or the quantity of sleep varies by age. So when you're talking about teenagers, you're really looking for anywhere from 8 to 10 hours of sleep. For you to be able to achieve that, you have to have sufficient sleep opportunity. And, you know, those are things that are going to impact function in different parts of a teenager's life. And so why is sleep so important? Why have I decided to really take this on in terms of educating people about sleep? I think one of the things that I have noticed, even from my friends and family, is people are not prioritizing sleep. They understand that sleep is good for rest, but people don't really understand that there's so many other important aspects to sleep. And so that's one of the things that I try to really work on educating people about. In a teenager, there's so much development going on. And so you can think about their mental development, their physical growth, their mood, academic performance is impacted by good quality sleep. So yes, sleep needs to be prioritized.
Thank you. I'm actually taking down notes. Awesome to hear that sleep is about the quantity and the quality of sleep. It's not just about just sleeping. The quality matters. And 8 to 10 hours a day, that's many parents may not even know. And many children would even argue, Mommy, no, this is it, And so we need to prioritize it because it's relevant for their mood, their development. Thank you. This is awesome. So
yeah,
what
absolutely.
are the factors that would affect sleep, and how does this, because many teenagers nowadays, they're on their devices, they're on virtual learning, so they go on from using their laptops, from school, from morning, then in the afternoon, they go to their phones, in the evening, they go to the TV. What are the things, the factors that affect, sleeping teenagers? And this present one, what is it?
Yeah, I know. I think definitely one of the things you're talking about is, the screens and the devices, but there's several other things that impact a child's sleep. I would say that for me to start, I would think about the fact that teenagers are going through a period of development. So their hormonal changes impact their sleep, they start to have a somewhat more delayed circadian rhythm, meaning that they prefer a later bedtime. So your teenager who maybe, a few years ago you would say, go to bed at 8 p.m. and they're falling asleep. Now you're like, it's 9. Why are you not sleeping? So they may not necessarily be pushing back. They just are not sleepy because physiologically their bodies are not ready. Melatonin production occurs later in teenagers during puberty, and so that impacts the time when they start to feel sleepy. So that's really one physiological change that is occurring. And then the next one I would say is couple that with the back end of it. So they're not necessarily feeling sleepy till a bit later. Guess what's happening in our schools, right? With early school start times in our middle school, our high school, all of a sudden, some children need to be at school by 7:30. So that means they're not falling asleep later until later. And then they're waking up, by like 6:30 or so to get ready for school. So the sleep opportunity is decreased. Something else I would say is, you had mentioned that, the devices and social connection. So that's a huge one. That's a really big one. And hopefully we could talk about some strategies to help, right? So a lot of children, actually studies have shown that almost 90% of teenagers have some form of device in their bedroom. So this could be a mobile phone, TV, or, you name it, video games. And, studies have also shown that the more devices are in the room, the worse the sleep of a teenager is. And so that's definitely a thing.
Just hold on there. The more devices, the more it affects sleep. And 90% of teenagers and even children now have a device. Wow, that is huge.
It is. It's something that needs to be addressed, right? And so the other piece is, for me, when you look at that, there are two mechanisms by which that would impact sleep, because children are like, well, I use my device, but I can still sleep. So one is, again, remember we talked about melatonin, which is a sleep hormone that's produced really at night that lets you fall asleep. Now, melatonin really is released when there's dark. So when a phone or video game is on, or the TV, it releases blue light. And so in the presence of blue light, melatonin suppression occurs. So that melatonin is not able to be released. So the teen doesn't fall asleep until a bit later. Then the other piece is what really keeps them wired, right? You talk about the cell phone, video games, excited, increased arousal, drama, right? The teenagers texting back and forth, notifications. We're really being bombarded by technology, and our teens are as well. And so what that does, it just creates a state of arousal. So your child is really not able to fall asleep in time, because then their mind is just really wired. So those two mechanisms. The reason why I'm bringing that up is one of the teenagers I saw in clinic is like, well, I put on the light blocking function on my phone, so that should be sufficient. Well, that might work with sort of that melatonin piece, but that arousal is still there. So I really use that analogy to help them understand that really the phones and things like that are playing a big role.
Thank you. This is so huge. Because
and then I'm sorry. I just don't want to forget. Another thing I would say is, in addition to technology being bombarded by technology, is the fact that activities, after school activities, some of our teenagers are working, demands from homework and things like that also reduces sleep opportunity. And then if there's an underlying sleep disorder, this is what I do. Some children may have sleep apnea or a condition called restless leg syndrome. All these things can impact your child's sleep quality and actually sleep quantity as well.
Thank you. This is so explicit. I hear you talk about hormonal changes. I hear you talk about use of device. I hear you talk about schoolwork. I hear you talk about the excitement they get from even the kind of games they play.
Yeah.
You know, my son has the Xbox and is on it, is wired to it, you know, even though he has specific time to watch it, but I see he's more excited, all his body, everything, and definitely it would affect it. That's why parents need to be understanding and needs to have good knowledge about all those things to be able to help their teens. So I so much love the way you've broken down all the things that affect teenage sleep so that they can address them adequately. Thank you. So the next thing is, with all this that we know, how can they ensure that the teenagers enjoy good quality sleep? I've picked that up. Good quality. It's important.
I hear you. Absolutely. So I think definitely parents really buying in. One, understanding that your child is undergoing changes in their body. And so their body clock is a little bit later. So really, as you partner with your team, really helping them see that it's not just about them being, fighting bedtime. There are other things that are going on. So I think that's really important. I would also say, again, in partnering with your team, helping them understand some of the benefits of good sleep, right? Some children say, well, I can function on just a little bit. I'm okay. My grades are great right now, right? So what's this? I'm going to be wasting time sleeping.
That's my son.
So you need to help them see. So I try to categorize the benefits of sleep, just kind of helping them see. They may not see it all the way, but really bringing them into what your thoughts are. So physical needs are important because when you sleep, apart from you resting, your body is getting sort of regenerated, your muscles are resting. So that's important, especially for children who play sports, really helping them understand your response time actually is really linked to good sleep. So how quickly you're able to respond is related to good sleep. So that's physical piece. Your immune function as well gets boosted through good sleep. And then academic performance has been clearly shown in so many studies to be related to good sleep. So if your child is getting A- right now, just imagine what good sleep can get you. Maybe you could get that A+, maybe, So that's really something that I think is helpful. And then mood. Mood is a big one in teenagers. Sometimes we see them, they're moody, they're cranky, they're irritable. I mean, they just may be because of what they're going through. But sometimes if they don't have enough sleep, that can contribute, right? You see babies, if babies are not sleeping well, they're cranky, they're crying. We as adults feel that as well. When we don't have good sleep, we just don't feel at our best. Absolutely. So really linking some of this is really important. Now, so first that understanding of these are the benefits. I mean, you're not like preaching to them, but really saying, what do you think happens when you get good sleep? And really having that understanding is helpful.
Asking that question, learning and helping.
That's so true. That is so true. So I would say I try to, there's so many sleep hygiene tips. If you Google, you'll see out there. But for teenagers, you want to keep it as simple as possible. Maybe pick one or two at a time for them to work on. Broadly, for me, I think the very important piece is consistency and regularity. Having a consistent sleep time and a consistent wake time. Good. If there's any that's key, I think that's one of them. The reason why is our bodies like routine. So if your body's expecting that at about 10 p.m. I'm going to be going to bed, just keep it that way and really have things such that all the activities and things like that are done at that set time. The other piece is having a set wake time. Yes. That wake time is also important. The reason why I mentioned that is because most teenagers do not sleep well during the week, and then they try to catch up on sleep overnight. Listen, sleep is not like a bank. You cannot bank sleep. You can't say, oh, I'll sleep all I need to sleep on the weekend, and then I'll just go on a sleep deprivation.
This is awesome. Because I see many people doing that.
No, you will not be able to catch up. You just can't. And what then happens is, especially for teenagers, remember they have a slightly delayed body clock at this point. So if they're trying to play catch up on the weekends, it's just going to keep spilling over and delaying them more.
True.
So consistent sleep time and wake time, I would say, and as much as possible on the weekends as well.
Okay.
The next one I would say is having a set bedtime routine. A bedtime routine is just I would say, ritual, some habits, things you do around bedtime. Really simple, relaxing, and heading in the direction of your bedroom.
Yeah.
So maybe it's take a shower, brush teeth, wear your PJs, or, brush your teeth, wear your PJs, and read a book, I think that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
The third one would be the bed is for sleep and the sleep is for the bed only. So avoid napping in random places and avoid falling asleep anywhere else but for your bed. And limit any other activity outside of the bed, meaning that, some children, the bedroom or the bed is their dining room, is their movie theater,
their snacking place.
Their snacking place. So you really want to, and the electronics need to leave the room. Again, electronics, as much as possible, you really want to create a different space for that. The last one I would say, which is very important, especially for our children in this generation who are very anxious, is if you start to feel frustrated and you don't feel sleepy, get out of bed and do something boring. So you really want to, again, you want to link bed to sleep. So if they're like tossing and turning, they're stressed out about the day or about the next day, one of the things you can do, one is maybe have a notepad by your bed and you can take some notes about, things that your mind is racing on, or get out of your bed and, sit somewhere and find something boring to do. Not go back to your devices. Either read a boring book or do some like super boring laundry or some activity until you start to feel sleepy and then go back to bed.
Awesome. This is beautiful. So what I hear you say is, number one, parents need to partner with their teenagers to help them, okay? They need to be in the point of understanding of all the situations and also let the teenagers know the reason why. Why am I asking to sleep on? Why are you not sleeping on time? And why am I asking you? That it's important. Your body needs it. Your muscle needs it. Your response rate will be better. Your academic performance will be awesome. Your mood and affect will be better when you have good sleep. So it's important. I always say that the tips, parents, you need to take home with you are 3 or 4 major things. Consistent sleep time, consistent wake time. Okay, you need to be consistent, and children cannot bank sleep. I love that. I love that. So let them know they can't. A consistent bedtime routine is important to help them. Okay, then make the bed be a place for sleep and sleep just in bed. No snacking, no eating, no playing of games in your bed. They need to make sure that that place is for sleep. And if they feel bored, if they are tossing and turning, they can't sleep, they can come out of bed, do something else that is boring, that'll make them sleep, or relaxing, take notes, and then they are good to go. This is just awesome, huge, sweet, enormous tips.
Yeah, I just realized a very important one that I missed out. Again, links to the devices. 30 minutes to 60 minutes before bed, really limit devices. That is really key because again, that blue light, that hyperarousal state, you want to limit it.
Yes.
So just find that if you have that set bedtime, just time about 30 to 60 minutes before then to stop those devices.
Good. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This has been a very nice time. I know parents, you've enjoyed it so much. And just want to say, where can people find you? You have so much people can glean from, so much to offer. I know we couldn't exhaust everything in this episode. Where can people find you?
Yeah, sure. So I am on social media. Funke A. Brown is my Instagram handle. I have the blog that you mentioned. It's radiatebrilliance.com. And really that's an inspirational blog. But as a sleep physician, I realized for you to radiate your inner brilliance, you need to sleep well. So a part of that blog addresses sleep, and it addresses sleep in, in moms as well as in children, because I'm a pediatric sleep doctor. And so really encompasses a lot of this information where you could find some useful tips that can help you prioritize your sleep and also help you prioritize your teens' sleep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So please, I'm going to leave our blog websites, in the description. So please go check it out. Read all the loads of information she has. And thank you for joining and staying tuned. Please review, like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much. Have a great day and see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.